Sports Nerd Show. Let's talk about that Jazz loss to the Phoenix Suns. Happy Halloween, everybody! All right, guys, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this. There's a lot of thoughts I had actually with this one. I had done a video yesterday about the choice between Lauri Markkanen and Ace Bailey, and I think this game really showed that's kind of the truth. There are some things going on with this Jazz team, and I would not be surprised if we see a different starting lineup next game because of some things we saw tonight. But let's just start from the top. First we got to do this right. Let's shrink me and put me at the top so no one loses their mind. All right, it's another bad game for Kyle Filipowski. I'll be honest. Of all the things that were surprising with the starting unit for the Jazz, Kyle Filipowski's starting was actually the most surprising because I don't know if what I saw last season, Summer League, he was really good. And, we knew what he could do in Summer League, and he did a little bit in preseason, although I don't know if he played as much as I thought he would. I can't remember. But I don't feel like his play last season had me really optimistic about what he would do this season, and then he's starting. And yeah, the Jazz, blew out the Clippers, who weren't trying in that game, and he's slowly just tapered off and kind of become what he looked like that last month or two of last season, which wasn't particularly great. Tonight, he played just 10 minutes, and I have to say, if you're playing 10 minutes and starting, why are you starting, right? You play your best players, in my opinion, when you play, and you've got to figure an offense out that works, and we've got to talk about this offense too. But really, it seems like the major reason that Filipowski starts is to move the basketball because he plays, kind of as a secondary playmaker for the Jazz, and it's not going well, guys. The last 2-3 games have been just not very impactful, and I kind of feel like Will Hardy's made some pretty bold choices to start this season. And yeah, it worked game 1 and game 2. They looked pretty decent. And game 2 was interesting against the Kings because the Kings actually tried on defense compared to the Clippers in game 1. Kind of felt like a lot of what was going on was a little bit of fool's gold. And now we're seeing that that's definitely what was going on. And it's not been great with the defenses kind of honing in on Utah. Filipowski's kind of being exposed a tiny bit. I don't know if I know there's a lot of Filipowski fans. I'm not as big of a Filipowski guy as others. All right. So we'll see what happens. But we've talked a lot about Svi Mykhailiuk starting, but it's kind of because of the Ace Bailey not starting, we kind of haven't talked about Filipowski starting. It hasn't been particularly great. He did have 1 assist in this one in 10 minutes, so I don't know. But yeah, 1 for 5, 0 for 1 from 3. Not very impactful defensively, and offensively, if he's not hitting those threes and if he's not playmaking at a high level, I don't really know what he's doing. And to be honest, Keyonte George has been so good playmaking and kind of initiating the offense that I don't know what the point of Filipowski being there is, right? Like, I would much rather see either Ace Bailey or Taylor Hendricks get those minutes. I just think that would be more effective. And that's really what I think this Jazz team, after a loss like tonight, they've got to make some decisions about what they are as a team. Are we a team playing to win games? Because that's obviously what Will Hardy's doing. He feels like this lineup, which has been pretty good against, bad teams or teams not trying. But they're not winning anymore. They're 2-3 now. In fact, if we go to Tankathon, let's refresh this baby. And Utah's now sitting at 10th, right? And this is not where you want to be because we don't keep our pick unless it's top 8 protected, right? In fact, just to make sure, protected 1 through 8. Utah has to be in the bottom 8 to keep their pick. The worst thing they could possibly do is give the number 10 pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for like incremental wins or vibes. That is just not what's going to be effective. Utah has a crossroads right now, and it's very early in the season, so you can make this now and see how it goes. But are we a team trying to win every single game possible, or are we a team developing for the future? Right? And they've got 2 timelines going on now, and that's what happens when you have a veteran in his prime like Lauri Markkanen leading the way for a team full of very young developing players. And that includes guys like Keyonte George, who looks like he's taking another step. But there's still development with him happening. He's only like 22 years old. He's extremely young and on a really great track. But when you're playing to win these games and not winning, you've got to ask yourself, who are we? Right? We talked about Socrates, know thyself. Who are we? Do we know who we are as a Jazz team? I think a lot of people know who the Jazz are. I wonder if Austin Ainge and Ryan Smith know who they are. I don't know. And I got to say, Austin Ainge had some pretty pointed comments about some specific things. And I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to be talking so pointed about things only to change your mind later. Right? I don't know if that's the best way to do things. He's a first-time president or GM. And, everyone deserves to learn and grow. Probably not a good idea to say we're not making specific trades when that's probably the right idea. All right? I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen a lot of BS out there, and my BS meter's going off a tiny bit with some of these things. Lauri Markkanen. So, some of the things I wanted to talk about do have to do with Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen had a really good game, numbers-wise, right? Offensively, 10 for 20 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, 36%. He's the three-point shot is back and the scoring is back. 9 for 12 from the free throw line. He's really just evolved into a high-level scorer, and he's just in his prime now and probably got, 3-4 years of prime play left. He's worth whatever the Jazz are telling teams he's worth, because he really is very good. But one of the reasons he's playing so well is the Jazz offense is completely designed around him. Completely. Every single play set, or almost every single one, is starting off with the primary action being Lauri Markkanen coming off a screen. So look at this. So just as an example, let's bring up some of these buckets here. See, this is a perfect example. This is the first points of the game for Markkanen. Right now, let's pause this. Let me pause it. This is like a major part of the Jazz offense right here, this double screen. See how they set this up, and then they've got a corner 3 shooter here. Markkanen's going to come off here, and he's either going to take the 3, or if he has space, he's going to drive it in here, and he is doing a lot of actions around the free throw line. Here's an 8. So just watch. You're setting a double screen here, Spain pick and roll if you want to call it that, or just a double screen, whatever. Getting this ball coming off and getting it at the top of the three-point line. It's not really there. Oh, cut off. Come on. But see how Markkanen cuts and Key gets him the ball right there in the paint. This is the Jazz offense primary action. It's like every time. Let's see this right here. Jump shot for Markkanen here. This is just a kick out. Nice pass from Ace Bailey, by the way. Great passing from him. I'm excited about that. Alley-oop dunk shot. This is coming. Look at this. Same thing. This is just a variation of the action. Look. Look right here. Double screen, but he's going to do an elevator screen here, go through the middle, and it's going to be an alley-oop from Keyonte George, who, by the way, in my opinion, is becoming the most important player on the Jazz, and that includes Lauri Markkanen. But watch this. Double screen, boom. Instead, he fakes and goes through the elevator. Score. Nice. But do you see how they're running that play, and they're doing lots of variations on that very same action? Teams are figuring it out. Now, you've got to give credit to Lauri Markkanen. He is scoring despite the fact that these defenses are already figuring it out and trying to stop him, and he's still scoring. That's credit to Lauri Markkanen for, making the buckets, and Keyonte George for setting him up, finding the right pass and making the right play. It's being effective, and against some of these bad teams, they're going to score a lot of points. Against better teams or teams, average or right around average, like the Phoenix Suns, who are like a little below average of a team, they're figuring it out and they're stopping it. Now, it's also the Jazz defense is not playing particularly well, but the Jazz offense has become a little bit one note, in my opinion, and that note is Lauri Markkanen, and you just kind of see that in the numbers. Look at this. 33 points for Markkanen, but then 2 points for Filipowski, 4 for Walker Kessler, 0 for Svi, by the way. 0 for 5. Are we going to, for all the people online and the keyboard warriors out there, the Jazz apologists or whatever you want to call them, just out there saying everything that everyone does is the most brilliant thing ever. Well, what about tonight? 0 for 5. Not as loud on the internet when things aren't going like you said. And people ain't clapping back at me like they were a few days ago. Very quiet. Lots of crickets. Chirp, chirp, chirp. All right. But anyways, Lauri Markkanen is getting a lot of buckets. And then there's not a lot else happening. And you got to ask yourself, what is the end goal here? Is it to make Lauri Markkanen happy because he likes Utah? I kind of feel like Utah is fine to Markkanen. You know what else Lauri Markkanen likes? $46 million, which he got. And I would like to see this offense be a little bit more diverse, a little bit more spread, and I'd like this starting lineup be a little more diverse, just to be quite honest, with guys like Ace Bailey and Taylor Hendricks, because I'm telling you, I'm getting a little sick and tired of seeing bad production from Filipowski, Svi Mikhailuk, and it's not working. So things have got to change. Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel, you want a new nickname. I guess Jazz tanking again, no defense, 1765 record. I wouldn't mind, because a top 5 pick in this draft is very worth it, guys. It's very worth it. And a top 3 pick, if we could be so lucky, would be just phenomenal. But anyways, Markkanen's playing really well, but the offense is setting him up to play well. And I guess that's another thing. Do we want to go tinfoil hat here a little bit? By the way, $4.99 is super generous. Thank you so much, Car Wash Channel. You are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always appreciate the donations, guys. They're incredible. But tinfoil hat here. Zach Lowe talked about the Jazz needing to improve the value of Lauri Markkanen on the trade market. And the Jazz have done it. He looks great. They've set up an offense entirely around him, completely 100% around him. It's basically like the Finland offense that Team Finland does in Eurobasket. And it's going well. Now, it's one of two things, and it's probably just Occam's razor. It's probably to win games because, vibes are great for Ryan Smith and Austin Ainge, I guess, we're going off vibes and playing to win, baby. And the way they're doing that is through Lauri Markkanen, who's their most gifted offensive player right now, or at least most developed and skilled. That's the one reason, is to just win games, because they're trying to win and let the cards fall where they may, I guess, is the outlook and overall plan. It also could be that they're just setting up an offense to make him look really good, and then you can make a trade and get the things you're asking for, right? It's probably one of those two things. I don't know what to think, but it's not particularly working. And guess what? Utah's not even played a particularly good team yet, right? Like the Suns and the Kings are the best teams they've played. They haven't even played the likes of Oklahoma City and Denver and Cleveland, and they're going to play Minnesota here a couple times in the next few days. So that's a better defensive team. We'll see how things go, but It's going to be interesting, but I would like to see this offense be opened up a little bit and do a little bit more of equal opportunity. But right now they have one point guard in Keyonte George and one offensive option, and everything else is just to set him up. Like Filipowski and Svi Mikhailuk, is their only job to just set a double screen for Markkanen? Is that all we're doing? I don't know. And I know the Jazz offense is doing well. I mean, let's see here. Let's just refresh here. Defensively, the Jazz hold strong at 19. Not bad. That's better than 30, which they were last year. So credit to the Jazz with that. Let's see. Where are they? Is that what? Yeah, 19. Come on. Stop the ads. But offensive rating, let's see where the Jazz fall to 12 after tonight. And I think that's a little bit of other teams are figuring this offense out. It's pretty simple, straightforward stuff, a little bit. Now, it opens up a little bit when Markkanen's off the floor, which is a little frustrating in some ways. I don't know. I just would like to see a little more open offense. Yeah, the thing with Markkanen works, but do we have to do it every time? Can we do it specific times? I don't know. But it's kind of what is going on. Walker Kessler, I have some questions. I don't feel like Walker Kessler was I know he was a -6 in a bad Jazz loss, but he basically shared the floor with Markkanen and Keyonte George. Keyonte George was a +3 in a 22-point loss. He was awesome. And, Kessler had some nice plays tonight. He had 13 rebounds and I swear he had a blocked shot. I don't know why he isn't credited with one. But he had 3 turnovers. He looked soft to me tonight, to be honest. And he got blown by perimeter defenders multiple times. I don't know if he has gotten more athletic. And if anything, he's looking a little less mobile to me. And I don't know. He did not. I mean, are you really paying $30 million for 4 points and 13 rebounds? And 2 for 5? Took 5 shots. That's not $30 million in my opinion, right? It may not be a humble opinion, but it is my opinion. Sorry, I gotta stop. I've been eating candy. Why am I jangling paper? Anyways, Walker Kessler, it wasn't very good tonight, to be honest. It just didn't feel impactful. It felt like the other team was scoring. And, I think if you can get Walker Kessler 15 to 20 million, then I think it's worth it because there's games where he looks great. And then there's games like tonight where you're like, where are you? What is going on? Why are you not destroying them on offensive boards and just impacting more? And if you're paying someone $30 million, especially at center, they better be really impacting that game because you can go out and find centers either in the draft late in the first or, on the free agency market for pretty reasonable cost. And I don't know. I do not want to pay a player $30 million where I'm constantly coming away wondering if he's worth $30 million. Markkanen's playing like a $40+ million player right now. Walker Kessler is not playing like a $30+ million guy. Now, $15 million? Sure. That's awesome. I think that's great. But I tell you what, the minute Utah signs Walker Kessler to $30 million, it is like immediately driving a car off the lot and it's losing its value right away. I don't know. I don't know what's going on also with the 3-point shot because he's like 6 for 8 for the season or whatever it is. And he didn't take a single one tonight. Why is he not getting more of those? This whole offense tonight was just a little off. Everything felt weird tonight, guys. It was not great vibes, right? So, I don't know. All right, Svi Mikhailuk got the start over Ace Bailey, the number 5 overall pick, who probably could have gone third again. And it was 0 for 5. He played 22 minutes. Ace is getting more minutes, which is nice to see. But Ace deserves to be getting even more. And I hope Ace is fully healthy now because Utah needs to start developing him. And it really does come back to that question, what are the Jazz? Are they winning, trying to win, or are they trying to develop? And they really need to be developing Ace Bailey. Now, I was writing the SLC Dunk recap. You can go read that if you want. But I mentioned about one change. I really want to see a change with Filipowski. And I actually think Cody Williams, the way he's played, I actually think a starting lineup for Utah that I think would both develop and be more fun and might even be more effective, to be honest. Keyonte George at point, Cody Williams at the 2 because he actually defends, Ace Bailey at the 3, Lauri Markkanen at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5. That's who I kind of think after these first 5 games kind of look like who deserve to start and play. You know, I think actually Taylor Hendricks has an argument that also to join that starting lineup instead of, I guess, Cody Williams, but he didn't play much tonight at all. Taylor Hendricks played 5 minutes tonight. That's crazy. And there were zeros across the board for him, so he was not impacting things. But, I don't know there's some weird things going on. And maybe it's just one bad game, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. It was pretty weird. But moving on from Svi Mykhailiuk, Keyonte George is playing great. And I know there's some people who won't have watched this game, and they'll go 3 for 10. Yeah, 3 for 10 is not good enough. There's a few shots where, like we've talked about multiple times, Key needs to hold off from shooting the ball. But he played really well tonight. He was 2 for 4 from 3 tonight. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and just 3 turnovers. That is a great game. Now, he needs to shoot the ball better, 3 for 10. That's typically, you've got to learn, is there another pass to be made instead of the shot you missed? There was a few shots that were a little wild, kind of reminded me of, last few seasons. But this playmaking is just consistently great. I mean, he nearly triple-doubled tonight. 17 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 11 free throws. So even though he shot the ball not particularly well tonight from 2, 10 free throw, but he had 17 points on 10 field goal attempts because of the free throws and 9 assists. So that's 17 points plus at least 18 from assisting the ball. And that's just good output. And that's why +3. Also, we have got to give him credit for his defense. There's a lot of people there's a lot of receipts online of people talking about that defense. And once in a while I'll say something and I'll think like, was I off or am I going to look stupid? And one of the things I talked about last season is that I actually felt like there were moments where I saw a Keyonte George defending pretty well. And every single time I see a beat writer tweeting about Keyonte George last year, it was just to trash on him and say, oh, he's a sucky defender. Oh, he's bad at this, bad at that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, is he? Because I was watching very closely, and there were times where I watched him make nice defensive stops and nice plays in isolation. Was he perfect? No. Did he fall asleep at times? Yeah. They also weren't playing to win. So all the grace everyone and their dog was giving to Lauri Markkanen, they didn't give any of that to Keyonte George last year at all, right? It's like we give leeway to Lauri Markkanen, but none to Key. Well, guess what? He's playing defense, and I would argue playing better defense than Lauri Markkanen this season. He's played great, and that's why he's a +3 in a 22-point loss in which he played 32 minutes. That is impressive. Impressive stuff. He is the only player positive, plus minus, like I said, in a 22-point loss. He was great tonight, and he deserves more flowers, and he deserves some apologies, to be honest. A lot of people said a lot of things in this comment section last year. Ain't nobody talking much this year. Not much. He's playing great and absolutely solidifying himself as a part of the future. Like if the Jazz draft Darren Peterson, I 100% am excited to watch Keyonte George play next to Darren Peterson, and that is a really fun backcourt, right? Or if the Jazz draft Cam Boozer, My gosh, would that be fun to put Cam Boozer with Key and Ace Bailey, and then whoever is on this team next year between, this roster. That's a good team. But one thing I'm pretty sure on, Keyonte George looks like he's developing into a core part of this future with this team. He's a very good player, and that defense is getting better. Now, I think he could even get more effective. Can he get stronger? Can he get more physically imposing? Because if he can, then he becomes really nice. The decision-making is getting better and better. The three-point shot was falling tonight at a decent clip. He only took 4, but that's good efficiency. 9 assists, 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds is impressive because it shows the effort. He really is becoming a leader, too. I can't say enough good things about Keyonte George. If Lauri Markkanen is number 1 on this team, Keyonte George easily has been the second best player on this team. He's been awesome. Awesome. All right, Ace Bailey. We're seeing flashes. We saw last game the nice pull-up jumpers. Tonight, he goes 2 for 8. So the shot was weird. His shot, he was not shooting it. Like, his form looked weird tonight. I don't know why. Just did not look as pure as it did last game. So I don't know if there's a little bit of tiredness there. But the effort is there. 8 rebounds, tied for second on the team tonight, next to Keyonte George. 3 assists for Ace Bailey tonight and a steal. He's showing so many signs. There's so many flashes. He just has to get more minutes. But what's really tough right now and really annoying, and it's why I did that video yesterday, is every freaking action is for Lauri Markkanen. And honestly, there was a second half possession that I was just really annoyed by. Ace Bailey's on the floor and he's just playing the Svi Mikhailuk go set a double screen for Lauri Markkanen. I like a double screen as much as anyone, but if all we're doing for Ace Bailey is having him go and set screens for Lauri Markkanen to get shots, and so Markkanen can take 20 field goal attempts, come on. Like, that is that is so one note, guys. I mean, the story of this game, look at this. You've got 20 field goal attempts for Lauri Markkanen. The next is Key with 10. Can we have any sort of diversity in this offense? My gosh. Ace Bailey took 8, and you can tell he's trying to get shots up when he can. I just want this offense to be more opportunistic instead of just one note. Come on. Can we please open it up and let guys play a little bit? And I know that the guys are young, so you give freedom to young players. They're going to make a lot of mistakes, but you know what? That's okay. That's where coaching needs to happen. And this Jazz team does not need to make the playoffs. That is not the goal this year. The goal is to develop. And anyone who thinks that they're like playing or playoff caliber, you are mistaken. They've got some exciting young players, and we see some really fun stuff. Lauri Markkanen has had some big games, but the way this team is running things is as if they're a playoff team, and they are not. They need to run things in a way that's more open opportunity for everyone. Okay? That's what we need to do, because this is becoming very one note, and that becomes extremely easy to guard. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the offense opens up a little bit more next game. But I tell you what, the other thing is we had that quote from Will Hardy talking about he's just trying to find someone to play hard. And I tell you what, man, you get in any of these sports, but especially basketball. Basketball is especially unique in that it's like 5 guys on the floor trying to impose their will, but you've got to share the ball together. But if your coach has you going on the floor and all you're doing is setting screens for one guy, and that's all you do all game, it is probably not super conducive to guys caring a lot in other aspects. You should play hard no matter what, and that's the goal. And I'm not excusing any sort of lazy play, because no, that's not okay. But can we reward more than one player on this team with opportunity? Why is it just one? Can we please run a play for Ace Bailey? Can we run a double screen for someone else? Can we do more than just double screens? Can we just run standard pick and rolls with a spread floor and then run multiple actions per possession? Come on. Right? And I know ISOs are not everyone's favorite thing, but can we run a little bit of ISO? I mean, we've got those things happening, and I know it's more than just one note, but I swear it's like 50-60% a specific play type happening. And then the secondary actions is where you're seeing a lot of this stuff. And I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. And I would love to see just a little bit more open floor, diverse play. I love Lauri Markkanen as much as the next guy, but can we just do a little bit more for other players? Because I want to see Ace Bailey develop. And I personally feel like what we're seeing. Sorry, it's late. It's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. What we're seeing is a player that has a lot of physical talent and gifts, and you do not want to squander any minute of his time on the floor. And I think we're already seeing that by the end of the season, he could become the best player on this team. I think he's that good, and he's shown that many flashes. He just needs reps. You know, tonight was a good example. You watch him play tonight, it was a little wild at times. The jump shot looked a little wild. He just needs reps. So much of basketball, especially in the NBA, is just finding those plays and those spots on the floor you like to take your shots and finding comfort there. And he just needs to find that, and I think he will. But every time he gets on the floor, he'll make a nice pass. He'll make a nice rebound. He'll do multiple things that make you go, this guy has it. He just needs more reps. And having him buried on the bench or also just buried within the offense, setting screens for Markkanen, I don't love it. Nothing wrong with getting Markkanen shots, but can it be a little bit more like side pick and roll? I don't know. That's what I would like to see. Bryce Sensabaugh has just not been playing much, and I think he's just really struggling to impact the game. The shot's not falling right now, and you know, if his shot's not falling, then there's not a lot of other reasons to put him on the floor. It's a little tough to be -6 in just 5 minutes, but that's what he managed to do. Took 4 shots and literally did nothing else. 1 turnover. He's just not doing a lot of things outside of shooting the ball. So, you know, that's where he can develop, is just finding ways to be an effective player outside of just, you know, 3 points and mid-range pull-ups, you know. Yusuf Nurkic, not a lot to say about Nurkic. He's fine. 6 rebounds. It's kind of impressive that he's actually doing this, considering I think a lot of people thought he's pretty washed. But he is actually producing somewhat. As a backup big, not too bad. Probably on a winning team, he's probably not playing. But it's okay. He's going to give an expiring contract to the Jazz this season, and that's going to help him get some free agency stuff next year. Taylor Hendricks playing 5 minutes, 0s across the board. That's really rough. -18. Him and Walter Clayton were the top, like, negative plus minus. They just played poorly today. Walter Clayton, who looked pretty good at the start, is really struggling tonight. 8 minutes, 1 for 3. He did hit 1 3-point shot late in the game. He did have 2 assists, but it's just not really been there. And Taylor Hendricks, I don't know. In 5 minutes, he got pulled, and I don't know. He's not being allowed to play through things. I don't know. Utah's got some decisions to make, guys, for what the future of the team is. Tonight they played Kyle Anderson for 25 minutes. Feels like Will Hardy's making a lot of these substitutions are like statement substitutions. And maybe they're trying to develop some sort of like culture of high effort and winning and impact play, but we'll see if it works. I guess I don't know if it's not working. By the way, I bought this new cord, and it seems like it's not skipping out. So for everyone who told me that it's skipping out and you're frustrated, leave me a comment letting me know if it's not skipping out and if you are happy. I would love happy comments. Anyways, Walter Clayton and Taylor Hendricks, not their shining moment, although I guess I want to watch the game again and watch those 5 minutes of Taylor Hendricks, but I don't know what you pull from it. I guess he wasn't doing what the coach wanted him to, but go set a screen for Markkanen harder. Anyways, Cody Williams, I feel like, is is kind of becoming a nice little story. Tonight, 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he's playing defense. He's playing a little bit more confidently, and he can handle it a little bit. That's why I thought, the reason they're playing Filipowski is to move the ball. Well, you know what? If Will wants to make a change, put in Cody Williams at the 2, put Markkanen at the 4, and I guess if you have to play Svi Mikhailiuk for whatever reason, Cody Williams can be that secondary playmaker with what he's doing. It's actually going pretty decently. Now, is he like super high level? No. It's not super polished, but it's there. And if you play him, he might get better. It's one of those crazy things. You give these guys reps, they get better. And that's what I want to see with Ace Bailey. And I'd like to see more Cody Williams. To be honest, can we get more CW in our lives? I would like it. Kyle Anderson played 25 minutes. He handled the ball pretty well. He's a pretty... Sorry, guys. He's a solid defender, and he's a veteran that kind of knows the right plays, and he kind of knows what a winning team needs to do. So it's interesting. I don't know if he's going to play more. He may play 0 minutes next game. We'll see. But him and Elijah Harkless definitely came in for vibes and defense, I guess, and it worked out pretty decently. I don't know. This team is in flux. There feels like there's kind of 2 different teams right now. And it would be nice if there was a little bit more unity of purpose with what the team is doing and the future of this team. So we'll see. It's a tough space that Will Hardy's in, just to give him some credit. I mean, the Jazz front office has set him up for a really difficult thing. Them deciding that they want to try to win games, even though they're not a good basketball team, is a weird decision, but that's what they chose to do. And I prefer developing their young guys, especially Ace Bailey. I don't know. I'd like to see Ace Bailey play more with Keyonte George, because that is going to be the future. And wouldn't you want to build that chemistry now rather than later, of those 2 guys just getting used to playing with each other night after night after night? I would assume that's what you'd want to do. Not really what's happening yet, but doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's only 5 games. Got 77 games left, or whatever it is. But every game matters when you're developing, especially if you're going and you're going to get a winning, if you win the lottery this upcoming draft and you get a superstar on this team, and the Jazz have a chance at a real superstar, you want to develop these guys already so that this ship can get going quick right away, right? You don't want the Millennium Falcon to look like it is in that giant worm belly, and you can't get the thing to start because you were playing Markkanen and Svi Mikhailiuk the whole time. And that Millennium Falcon is going to take a little bit more time to get off the ground. So we'll see. All right, guys, that's all I got tonight. Late night show. Thanks for everyone who's here live. Late night. Happy Halloween, everybody. Although I think Halloween's technically over at this point. All right, let me pull up the music here. Get that started. Guess what? Utah's back in the lottery, so we can do our Tankathon draw. Okay. Let's go to Tankathon now. We see that Utah is sitting at number 10, 2-3. They've got a tough schedule up ahead, so we'll see. But everyone needs to be rooting for New Orleans. They kind of started slow last year, too. And they've got a lot of young talent, but they need to start winning some games. Indiana as well. These 3 teams, oh my gosh. I don't know if Jazz are going to pass Brooklyn. They've already got a nice lead, but we'll see. All right, if the lottery was today, what would happen? Utah stays at 10. Sacramento wins the number 1 overall pick. Wow. And Orlando jumps, giving their pick to Memphis. Holy cow, Memphis getting the number 2 pick. And let's just go to the draft and see who that gives us. Jaden Quaintance, 6'10", sophomore. Caleb Williams, a lot of people like, I had one of the draft guys I follow had Caleb Wilson at number 4. We know these 3 really well. It's time to start learning a little bit about these guys. I know Kareem Lopez a little bit. Nate Ament is an interesting one. We'll see. I don't know. But anyways, 10 is where the Jazz are at, and that pick would be going to Oklahoma City. Congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, let's get that energy. It's 2 in the morning, but we got to get that energy, baby. All right, let's go to the All-Stars. Thank you so much for everyone who supports the channel, but especially the All-Stars. Let's turn this down a little bit so you can hear me. Let's give a shout out to Let Him Cook, Sturdy Potts, Ezekiel Ricibe, the man from down under, Tyson Price, the Price is Right, see ya, Lexalator, Jordan the Goat Best Roll, Ryan Edward Perry, the Legend, Christian House Money to Haas, Robert Hall of Fame, I Believe in Steve, Jazz Exile, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Flipping the Script, the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Thank you so much, Car Wash Channel, for the donations and all the members, and I appreciate everyone who is a part of this channel. If you're new here, like the video, subscribe.